through cropping and you sell the game meat. Through trophy hunting, you can also do trophy hunting if you are ranching. You can also do tourism, have people come to see wildlife and cattle together. So that is class C, which is ranching. The class D of the wildlife use right is trade, where you can actually capture and trade, and this is common with birds, with butterflies, with chameleons, snakes. People just capture snakes and export them. And then class E is using wildlife for education and scientific purposes, like the Wildlife Education Center, where you can keep wildlife and people come to learn about the wildlife. That is also a license. And then the last class is the general extraction, where we allow communities to utilize wild. And by the way, when we are talking about wildlife, we don't talk about animals. Wildlife is both animals and plants.
Flora
so we have a program where communities are allowed to pick medicinal plants from protected areas. They use them for their medicine. They can pick these plants for making chairs, because those ones naturally regenerate. They can pick papyrus in the parks for making mats, and that will regenerate. So that one is called general extraction, mainly for the plant resources. So those are the current 6 classes of wildlife use rights that people can engage in. And for you to do that, you need a permit from UWA. It is very easy to get a permit, and I think at the later stage, Amanya would go through a quick procedure you need to go through if you are interested to get a wildlife use right license. So, and it also depends on your objective. You must have an objective. What are you interested in? Are you interested in trade? Are you interested in farming? Are you interested in ranching, in tourism? And then we can advise based on what you have, what resources you have, and the technical capacity, because things like crocodile ranching, crocodile farming, may require some technical knowledge and technical expertise. The incubation, you need somebody who knows these things to regulate the temperature. You need a vet doctor to check the health from time to time. So there are so many things that you need depending on the...
And
still on the farms.
You can give them, okay.
I'm interested in trade before we can move away from the farms themselves. The trade, how are you able to regulate the trading of these animals and other plants maybe? Because I am seeing illegal trade. Happening here. How is it regulated?
So what we do at Uganda Wildlife Authority is that every year we come up with what we call a wildlife use right trade quota. We know that in this year we will only allow people to export so many birds, and that is based on science. Of course, we know that we have this in abundance. Sometimes we may have data on population statistics so that we know how much we have in the wild. And by the way, we are talking about wildlife which is outside the national parks, not the wildlife in the national parks or wildlife reserves. So we do what we call quotas, and we have people who are already licensed. So we have a national quota every year saying this year we will export so many birds of this species.
You only accept the licensed people to export?
Definitely, you must have a license before you can export. And then, when you go to capture those animals, we must know where you are going to capture from, because it must not be in a national park. It must be away from the national park. We supervise the capture of the animals to see that they are captured well and according to procedures. And then by the time you come actually export, we would have been working with you. You don't work alone. So we do have quotas for the various species of animals that are under trade, which we supervise quite stringently to ensure that people do the right thing. But despite that, as you said, we still have lots of illegal activities. This is Uganda. When you have a legal way of doing things, there are also illegal ways of doing things. So yes, we do have a challenge, because we do have people exporting wildlife trophies which are not licensed. And I think I've already talked about the challenge with ivory. We don't have ivory on the trade quota because our elephants are still few, and they are site-listed species. We wouldn't trade in them without authorization from international organizations like CITES, but that is the one which is most lucrative. The market is there, so there's a lot of money for people to look for ivory, and so we have a challenge of illegal trade. But we hope that if we do legal trade and do it well, it will help us to manage the illegal one. That is one way. If people are doing
to counter
things
the other
illegally, find a way of doing it legally, but not for ivory, of course. Give people licenses, and then if people are doing it legally and are benefiting, they will also help you to fight the illegal one. So that is the strategy we are using.
Let him take us through the category or the class he was going to, then we look at one of the questions that we're asking here on the show.
The procedure of getting a license and all that.
Yes, the beginning point is that everybody out there who might be interested to deal in wildlife business, you just bring your application. It can be half a page, full concept, but the best you can put it, because we do acknowledge that people may not be having sufficient technical knowledge at the time of application, but rather we give them ideas and guidance. So bring your application. We usually have a form that we give you asking you about your land, where it's located. At times we may ask evidence to confirm that land is yours, because we don't want you to have wildlife like snakes. Tomorrow the owner of the land evicts you, and you have nowhere to put the snakes and just release them to the community. So we are stringent on someone having at least some good secure tenure. Then you submit also a proposal. Within that form, there is where you attach a proposal detailing what animals you want, how many you need, how you manage the staff you've organized to employ to do that kind of work, how you've secured them, like having put a fence, or you plan to put a fence around where you want to keep the animals. We need local government recommendation, that's or the neighboring or your neighbors to be sure. We want to be sure that you have informed them of the activity we will do, because some of them have to help you, especially if animals escape. You have to submit your CV, the people you want to work with. Then you also have to pay $100. All that is detailed when you $100 application fee. All that is detailed when you come to us. But the beginning point, you just come the way you are and just say, I would like to do this business.
Given your application.
Sorry?
You just come the way you are and give in your application, that is all for the time, and then you give me the details.
Yes, we give you the details, because you will need the proper thorough guidance for you to take you through this. Even the choice of animals you will need, because you need to deal with animals that really will make a fortune, will pay back. For example, the ostriches. You hear of these Benz cars, how expensive they are. I understand they use the leather from ostriches, the seats. Now it's like an ostrich, the only thing you throw away maybe is blood, but if you have dogs at home, you will not throw it away. Yesterday we had the carnival here in Kampala. We had the carnival in Brazil. What they use, I've always seen them having these costumes made from ostrich feathers, and they have a tradition that you can't use those feathers twice. You use it once and throw it away, meaning that's a ready market, that this year they will use all the feathers and throw them away, the next time they want to import more feathers. So we guide you in the choice of animals you can make, and we take you through it. It's a process that can take 1 month, maybe 3 months, depending on how prepared you made. If the project is quite big, you may need to do environmental impact assessment. For example, where you need massive translocation of animals, like you want to start a ranch, then you do environmental impact assessment. There you have to, you get it from NEMA, National Environmental Management Authority. Now, those are the basics. You have them, you have the license, and you have the business.
You can work there. Okay, there is someone here before we go is saying that why does Uganda Wildlife Authority make it so difficult for us students or researchers to be able to access their parks? Besides, we need research if we are to sustainably conserve our natural resources, wildlife inclusive.
And David Wilson also is asking, how much do they charge for a family of 6 transport inclusive? Exclusive, right?
I think that you don't do that. Let's also have someone here says, Mbuto Richard, when are they recruiting? Someone is in that needing of a
These are
job.
very beautiful.
When are you recruiting?
Wonderful
Someone is
questions.
saying that why do you make it so hard for researchers to access your parks?
I think it is really the lack of information. I don't think it is really so hard.
For
We
researchers.
actually encourage people, we encourage Ugandans to do research in the national parks. The Ugandan students, for example, undergraduate students, are not charged any fee for doing research in a protected area. But we do charge foreign students because, yeah, I mean, they have traveled all the way from Europe to come and do research here. And then after that they will earn their doctorates. So yes, we make them pay some retro fee. But I think it is lack of information. We don't actually charge Ugandans to do research in protected areas. It is purely free, and we encourage as many Ugandans as possible to come and do research in protected areas. However, definitely the national parks are national parks. You know, the problem we have in Uganda, which I don't find elsewhere where I've traveled, is that people here like free things. You know, we have some entrance fee at the gate when you are entering a protected area.